Welcome to Uncap Explained, our office hours, our weekly office hours that we're again having in our application round this year. We have 4 different sessions. Today, we're sharing something about our application, just giving you an overview how the process works on our platform. In a week, we are going to talk about one part of the application, which is the quantitative business overview. Where it's mostly based on your financials and a few other things on your business, and RBF, what you probably also have already encountered while looking into Uncapped, our investment model in the end. Then we'll have on the 23rd a user Q&A session where we just gather throughout the application process all your questions that you ask through our platform feature, where you our kind of help desk. And we gather those questions and pick out the most often asked ones to answer them. On August 31st, we hope to gather some great women that are active in the entrepreneurial space in East Africa, most likely, talking about gender-lens investing, about the challenges female entrepreneurs face, about potential solutions. And we hope we're having an engaging talk about that, as this is obviously one of the topics that we are also quite concerned about at Uncap. Great. So glad that you joined. Some housekeeping rules kind of before we move forward. We are recording this session. I hope you're fine with that. We are also going to share this session on YouTube later on. So yeah, and if you want to share that with anyone you know who probably also applied with Uncap, please go ahead and do so. We'll have a Q&A, which is actually always part of every session as well. So whenever you have a question, write it down in the Q&As, and we are going to answer those questions after like our part that we planned beforehand. Use the chat. I hope you probably have been in Zoom calls before in this time of COVID, so you probably know how to use it. We'll give it a quick try, as we are a very small group, only 2 actually. A quick teaser still. So what we would like you to do is write down your business name into the chat, and then a number behind it. One would be you're currently in the process of applying to Uncap. The second one would be you're thinking about applying to Uncap, and the third is you're completely new and just trying to get a grasp of what Uncap is actually doing. So your business name and where you are in the process. So we already gave you a hint on what we would be willing to know. Cool. I'll just have a few more seconds to respond. But otherwise, we'll also just continue. I think everyone knows how to use the chat. Someone is raising their hands. I think questions. Could you allow someone to speak, or should we just move that to the end of the session?
Sorry, so someone just wrote that they were unable to use the chat. So maybe you could just write on the Q&A section and I'll share your answer. Sorry about that.
Cool. So then let's continue with the agenda. Here on call with me is Mbui, our marketing lead, who's responsible for everything that you see about Uncap in our social media channels, on our website. And my name is Elias. I'm the product lead at Uncap, so responsible for figuring out what kind of features we are developing on the platform. And while we go through the process, a lot of that has been done, or a part of it actually at least has been done by me. Very glad that you joined, and yeah, going throughout those office hours, you will also meet other people from our team. My part in this call is to quickly give you an introduction about Uncap. So Uncap is a growth and funding platform, and we are in business to revolutionize access to early stage funding. So we are trying to really give every good entrepreneur access to funding. What you probably have encountered as entrepreneurs already is that if you look out for funding, either you probably don't have enough collateral if you look out for a bank. If you look at VC investments, usually the ticket sizes are just way higher than for early stage businesses, and who are rather looking for like a seed investment, angel investment. MFIs are also probably just way too small. You're beyond that stage already. And Uncap basically really covers that early stage in the middle of all those different funding options. And to be able to do that, we are building a completely remote process, which is extremely automated, very scalable, to give you a very easy kind of experience, to not have to, shake hands, share pitch decks, and so on, but really like to go through the process online. And it's a combination of different tests that we also will have a look into today. What we are offering is ticket sizes between 10 and 50,000 euros. The model we are using for that is the redeemable equity revenue-based financing. This sounds very complicated. It's not that complicated, and we're going to talk about it in one of the next sessions. So if you have questions about that, revenue-based financing is coming up more and more, but we'll really deep dive into this topic in our next office hours next week. Our goal for this round is to invest in over 100 businesses. Our target group is only local founders from Uganda, Rwanda, Kenya, and Nigeria. And I'll hand over to Wambui for some history.
Thanks, Elias. So we had our first cohort in 2020 where we invested in 27 businesses. And the people you see here are some of the founders of some of those companies. So we have Annabelle Angwenyi, who has an app called Ziada. And she has actually gone to join the Catalyst Fund after getting her investment from Uncap. We have Christian, who's from Rwanda. And you can see the figures of funding that each of them requested for. And we have Nathan from Uganda, who recently completely repurchased all his shares. So he's back to fully owning his company. And they are part of the businesses that we invested in 2020. In 2021, we had over 4,500 people registering and over 800 completed applications. And from that, we have made 70 offers, and we are just in the process of completing the disbursements to a few of those who will be proceeding with the investment. And who we're looking for, what is the criteria? So first of all, you have to be a registered limited company, which is based in either Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, and Nigeria. You need to have revenue traction over the past 12 months, equaling to at least 10,000 euros. And you need to have been operational for 12 to 48 months, have a well-kept record of accounts, because we'll be asking you to show some of this information, and your business needs to have the potential to scale. This means that your business model can either grow regionally or nationally.
Cool. Thanks a lot. I'll just switch right into the platform, because what we are going to do is just giving you some insights into that, and just guiding you through the main aspects that we think are relevant to know when you go through the process. So, as I said before, as an early stage founder, you probably found yourself into the struggles of finding the right type of financing for your business. And, you know, investors are looking for usually high growth companies. You're ideally already multi-billion-dollar companies before even investing, like joking, right? But still, this is usually super hard for founders to find the right financing. And that's what we're trying to tackle, to bring in a financing solution for a very early stage, from 10 to 50,000 euros to really get you started on your way, on your journey. And as an entrepreneur, luckily you now found Uncap, and after a very quick onboarding on our platform, you land on this page. So www.unconventional.capital, that's the website that you're visiting, and then basically hit apply and you get through a very smooth, quick onboarding. And if you match the eligibility criteria, you land on that page. And what you can see here is the current cohort that we are gathering applications for. Our eligibility criteria in here as well, the countries we're investing in. We're currently sector agnostic, ticket from 10 to 50,000 euros, sorry, and our application period ends on 16th of September. So as a founder, let's say I'm looking for 40,000 euro investment. I'm based in Kenya, running a food company. So I'm eligible, and hit apply. Next up, we are seeing the invite your co-founder screen. What we want you to do is get your co-founders on board on the application as well, because we think that you as a founding team are the most essential part of making your business a success. There are some criteria for what we consider a co-founder. So a co-founder should work at least half-time for your business, should be actively involved in the actual management of the business. So entitled to sign documents, contracts, approve business contracts on behalf of the company. A minority shareholder is not automatically a co-founder. So someone that probably invested in your business early on with whatever, a few hundred euros or a few $100 is not automatically a co-founder. It should be someone that is really actively involved in the management. And the co-founder should at least own 10% equity of the business. So what I would do now is enter any type of email here that my co-founder has, right? I'm not sending this because this will also not work because I'm already a user in the system. So the system will tell me that I can't register, but you would not, with your co-founders, it would be different. So you could add their email addresses here if you had any and invite them. And it will also be really important for you to nudge them to actually, you know, activate their account. Because if before they have activated their account, you won't be able to really work on the whole application. So make sure that this process works. Usually as co-founders, you should be in touch on a daily basis, probably anyway. For sake of ease, I'll just hit I don't have any co-founders here and continue to the next step. And what I see is an application overview. First, like a little introduction video. You can basically just sit back and relax and listen while Franziska and Esther are explaining the whole process. And then you can go through, like, figure out whatever you want to start with. You can start with. We have different steps. What you need to take care of is that for some steps, you have only one attempt and a limited answer time. For other steps, for example, for the quantitative business overview, this is only a time estimate that we think it would take you to fill this in. It could probably also take you less time if you're very well prepared with your financials. It might also take a little longer if you just need to gather all your data from the last year to be able to report that here. And we have another step here, sustainability mindset and mindset trainings, which are also steps that you could like revisit over and over again, basically. So yeah, that's the steps, and I'll just look into one to show you what kind of questions we would have in here. We also have a quick onboarding again. This step, again, you are notified that you have only one attempt, so you're really aware of that to be sure that you're, really in the zone to work on this. We always advise you to save your mobile data. We always have sometimes the issue that a connection breaks or anything. Just make sure that you're in a stable Wi-Fi. Some of the steps might be data intense when you have to upload, for example, a video in the QBO as well. So just be aware of that. Most of the steps, though, are relatively not data intense. And yeah, just be in a quiet space to concentrate. I think that's always relevant if you want to get the best out of the whole process. Make sure that you are in a place where you really can focus on be your best self. Then I can start. And again, what I see here is a quick video introducing the steps. That's me here. And you will see probably different team members throughout this process introducing the different steps. So I'd really advise you to watch those videos so you kind of get a feeling what you can expect. Because when you hit start, there's no way back. Like at least for the ones where you have one attempt, right? No way back sounds very harsh, but you usually have enough time to go through everything. So as you can see, the timer runs here. And this is one of the questions that you could encounter in how far you disagree or agree with something. And I'll just hit anything now, without reading the question, but just be aware, you should be really answering those questions intuitively and just don't overthink it too much. That's really important. For you to make the best impression and to get the best result in the end. There is no right or wrong answer in any of those tests. At least not for the problem solving one. There is right and wrong answers, and for the financials, but you'll see that while you go through it. With those questions, there's really no right or wrong answers. I'll just type anything here. This is some parts of the company interview that you also have to address. I'll just, I don't type in actual relevant things here, but you can see where this goes. So just some questions on how you're on your business, how you're running your business, what your target group is, what your business model is, what your motivation was to start a business, and there will be some other questions as well. You will figure that out. This is some questions from the financial literacy test. So I'll also just put in anything just so you have seen it and get an overview of what kind of questions you could expect. And here is, you should select the missing piece from the options below. I don't know whether this is the right one, but I'm sure you'll figure it out as soon as you go through the process. Right, and then I'm asked to whether I'm sure whether I want to submit this application step. I could go back, but I'm sure that I want to submit it. I've done everything and go basically back to my application. And you see here that this step is completed. And you also can't touch it again, because this is one where you have only one attempt. I'd give you a quick overview of what you're going to expect from the process. I will not go into every separate step, but just like a really quick overview. So we have two of those steps that are on how you would see yourself in specific situations. This is the entrepreneurial acumen and the personal reflection. There's a typo in there. There is no typo on the actual application. The next step is financial understanding. This is also what you just saw. This is really just to check some basic financial understanding. This is just really important also for the offer we provide. For this, it's not super complicated, but it's still relevant that you just understand some basic financial concepts to make sure that you're also aware of what kind of funding model you're getting yourselves into and whether that also makes sense for the business model that you're working on. It doesn't make sense for every business model. So understanding that well, having the right awareness on that is just really important. So that's why we're asking those questions on financials. Then we have the quantitative business overview that also this is the part that will be part of our next session as well, where we're asking some questions on your financials from the last months, and some more questions quite straightforward on your business, like when have you registered your business and so on. Then we have kind of a simulated interview. It's not really an interview, but we have limited the time on it for you to really be like the need to answer the questions like on the spot. So that's important. And it will just be, as we saw before, like on your motivation for the business, on some things that you are generally known as business model canvas. So you like putting some thoughts into that will always help in this company interview step. Then we have a problem solving step. Those are those kind of puzzles that you saw before that you need to solve. I think it's quite fun to think that through. There will also be an introduction video on it and an example. So again, there, if you haven't done it before, watch that video, and I think everything gets way clearer when you watch that. This is a new step that we added to the process from last year, sustainability mindset. This is actually a step that we added because we have a research collaboration with a PhD candidate from the Technical University of Munich. And we're working together with her on sustainability mindsets of entrepreneurs. I also think it's great, this is like in this world that we're living in, it's just super important aspect. And if you haven't thought about it yet regarding your business, I feel like most of the businesses that we have been in touch with or working with are quite aware of it. But if you haven't yet, and even if you have, I think you can always learn something new from this step as well, and just reflecting on some things. I think that's really a great chance there. And the same for the next step, which is mindset training, where we just also want to understand a little bit how you tick, how you think in specific situations. It's really also there are questions there where you just need to reflect on things that have been going right or wrong in the last weeks. Why did that go that way, and how you could probably get better at it in the future. So having like a growth mindset for us is super important, I think, also for every business. So that's why we also have this step in there. In general, when you look at this, it might look quite a lot. I mean, it is a few steps. If you add up the time, it's probably also quite some time, but be aware that the time that stands there is like not the time that you would most likely need to go through it. We usually put way enough time there to solve everything. And also the time estimates are like relatively like, not very optimistic, but rather pessimistic in terms of how long it will take for you to go through the process. So don't be discouraged by that. I'm 100% sure that this is well worth going through, also as a learning experience. And hopefully it's going to be successful in the end. And our algorithm will basically spit you out as the entrepreneur that we should invest in. So as soon as you finished all the steps that are asked for, the submit application button down here will get activated. You will see it all the time basically, but as soon as you're through the process, it will get activated, and you should submit the application. Don't forget that. We had people who forgot to submit it. So don't forget it. So that's the overview or the application.
Thank you so much, Elias.